right, hello everyone, and welcome to Patriot Crusader Missions Christian Warrior Talk. Just getting a quick sound check here. I got a good friend of mine, Aaron, who helped us out decapitating some chickens, and it's been hard to get rid of him since. I mean, he's been kind of hanging out around here. He's a great guy, like-minded brother, a fellow Calvinist, and we were hanging out around the fire last night, and I said, "Hey guys, come on down." So, as you guys know, you are watching Christian Warrior Talk, and we are a Christian fellowship show where we celebrate our victories together. I want to make sure that I'm actually on right now because normally people will be jumping on left and right. So let me make sure that we're good to go, and then I'll do my spiel.
Just debating.
Oh, that's Jordan Peterson. So, yep, we got some people in here. If you're logging on, let us know if we sound good. All right, Lauren just gave me the thumbs up. We're good to go.
Is my mic coming through again?
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good to go. You're loud and clear. So I can take these off. So, anyways, you're watching Patriot Crusader Mission, a Christian fellowship show based out of Johnson City, Tennessee. Patriot Crusader Mission is a church for first responders, veterans, and patriots. This show, we drink adult beverages, okay? So if your stumbling block is adult beverages, I'm not telling you to have fellowship with us that you need to go out and drink a fifth vodka. Don't, okay? If you're like my dad and one sip, you'll wake up 3 months from now in a jail in Florida, don't do it. But if you're the vast majority of the population who doesn't have a problem, by all means, come in fellowship and drink with us. Now, what you drink doesn't matter. You could be drinking Sprite. You could be drinking sparkling water. You could be drinking sweet tea, unsweet tea. It doesn't matter. Hey, Rhonda, good to see you. Thanks. Yes, we're on. Appreciate it. Last week, we were I was in Knoxville, so I took the week off because we were doing active shooter training, if you recall, and I went down the night before. So it's so good to see you. And for you, strength and honor.
Yeah.
So anytime someone comes on, you'll hear us. Oh, I didn't have it cranked up, so we're going to have to do it again. When you hear this.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
All right. Again, this show is to celebrate our victories, to pick each other up from our setbacks, and to learn from one another and invest in one another. The Christian community is terrible about investing in one another. We all go throughout our lives alone, isolated on an island. We go to church for an hour. Maybe we have some coffee and donuts after church, and that's considered the end of our fellowship. And that's not the way Jesus designed this. Okay, we were meant to be in constant fellowship. We were meant to be walking along beside each other as we, are in this journey called life. So you're there to pick your friend up when their wife leaves them, or they lose a child, or they get cancer, or the terror, they lose a job, whatever the bad things are, you're there for one another, right? It's not, and you have credibility and you know each other's strengths and weaknesses so that you prevent, we talk on this show about the war council, which is surrounding yourself with people who know your testimony, their testimony, and you're able to be there for one another and to hold each other accountable. So when someone starts pulling some BS, you can sit there and say, hey, listen, yeah, sure, you're going to take that phone number and share Jesus with the Hooters waitress. I'm sure that's what it is. But instead, why don't you give her your wife's number? There you go. And she can share Jesus with her, right? That's the type of stuff we're talking about here. That and, taking the plank out of our own eyes so we can help get the speck out of our brother's eyes, right? So, again, I want to welcome Aaron. We're going to strengthen on Aaron here.
Strength and honor.
Ron.
Strength and honor.
Sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Tonight, I am drinking what I call is muddled wine, which is wine mixed with sparkling water. I often use fruit juice.
Water.
Yeah, it's whatever Lauren buys. I like
Says
that.
a lot about you.
Is it really French if it's written naturally in English? Let's see where it's from.
It says LaCroix.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean it's bottled in like North Carolina. So
Yellow.
yeah, North Carolina. Hey, John, strength and honor up there in
Strength and honor.
Jersey.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
So, I was on the Schilling Show today, which is a radio show out of Charlottesville, Virginia, and I was talking about Halloween. Halloween is fast approaching, and the take of many pious Christians is you can't participate in Halloween. It's the devil's day. It's this and that, and all that. And I have no argument that it's the devil's. Like the devil tries to claim that day. And as a former atheist, it was all about debauchery. It was about being the sexy vampire, the pregnant nun, making a mockery of a lot of different things, walking around as a zombie, getting wasted, doing whatever. Of course I like North Carolina.
We love North Carolina.
Yeah, North Carolina is like 30 minutes that way. So yeah, we love North Carolina. He was just trying to call this French because of the name of it's LaCroix.
It was more an indictment on the French, not North Carolinians.
North Carolina.
So, although you guys are getting pretty lefty.
Yes, North Carolina. There's a reason why I didn't move to I wanted, believe it or not, to move to Boone. I wanted to move to Boone because I looked at the weather. I'm like, where can I live in the South that isn't hot? And Boone and Blowing Rock are really beautiful. You have the summers of Maine without the winters of Maine, right?
Yep.
Meaning you're at altitude, it's cool, it doesn't get hot there. But then I went there and I saw how crazy left it was in Boone, and I didn't trust it to stay a red state. Like if I'm moving one time, I'm moving to a state where I'm gonna die before I leave, right? Meaning that I'm defending this state to the very end. And my choices, and we were talking about this last night, the first one was Wyoming. But Wyoming's in the middle of nowhere. It's hard to get in and get out. I didn't have any relationships. It would have been hard for me to maintain any relationships from Wyoming, right? The next was West Virginia. And when I dove into West Virginia, it was run by Democrats for 80 years. And the only reason why they flipped Republican was because Trump was pro-coal, right? Yeah. So you had all this tax law, you had all the welfare policies, everything that is in West Virginia. It's still a mess. Right, they just happened to vote right in the 2016 election, and then Tennessee was the other one. I know, Rhonda. I know. Trust me, I spent almost 3 years of my life in North Carolina, in Fayetteville, North Carolina, going through medical schools and all kinds of stuff there. So I get you, and I know that. These darn Yankees, people like from Boston and New York and California, and, and Maine. But the thing is, some of them, though, outside of your big business, right? Bank of America, like people don't know that North Carolina is actually a banking hub, right? So you got a lot of woke companies that come there that hire woke people and bring woke people in. But many people fleeing from the North, myself, my wife, included, are conservatives at heart that came down here to hold the line, right? To warn. If you look at Tennessee stands and you look at Johnson City Freedom, you look at all the active conservative pushback groups here, they're all run by out-of-staters because we've seen the barbarian horde. Right, we've seen the locusts and what they do, and unfortunately, what they do is they destroy everything they touch and corrupt everything they touch. And so we're here to help you guys, to help fortify the culture. Trust me, I don't want any of Boston here except for the food. Boston food is amazing. The best Chinese food, Italian food. Boston's a cuisine town. But as we had last night, I want to plug Bella Vita again and my brother Amel, the best chicken palm south of at least Virginia Beach. They overcook their pasta, I'm going to tell you that. But outside of that, their chicken palm, their pie, their meatballs, everything is amazing. Amazing. So, Claudia, what's up?
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
Aaron Thomas is the name.
So, Aaron, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I grew up in construction. Do you want the whole like kind of from childhood to now, like what
The condensed version. So you got 5 minutes. Go.
I'm a quasi crypto expert, so I made some of my money there. I do a lot of construction oriented things. Practice a lot of different. I don't know, whether it's woodwork to electrical, plumbing, you name it. So
Okay.
I kind of grew up in construction.
And homesteading, what do you have on your farm?
Pigs, chickens.
Types of pigs,
dogs.
types of chickens, numbers, quantities. Come on, man, get
Just a couple
precise.
pigs.
People need to know.
Just a
I mean,
couple pigs
are you a
right now.
part-timer or are you a serious individual? That's
And
what I
just a
wanna know.
part-timer. I pretty much
You're
just
gonna
like
have to scoot over. since
I
we're
like
on
to
camera. You're gonna have
pose.
to scoot over. You like
I
to
kind of
pose?
yes. I like to pose. It's one of my specialties. Also, it's basically acting like a variety of different things. You just
But you got kune pigs. You said you got 2.
Yeah. Just for
Yeah.
right now, we got a couple females we plan on breeding next year. So
Okay, and then what kind of chickens? How many?
mainly Australorps, and right
just
now
like we
it's
have. Yep.
like 13, and then we've got a Jersey. Well, they said he was a Jersey giant rooster, but he's not.
Yeah.
There's no way. He's not big enough.
Okay.
But no, it's kind of a mix. We've got some barred rocks and whatnot too. So mixed flock. So
John
nice
said I
little start.
forgot the I in palm. If you remember, Massachusetts became way before New Jersey. So we had it right, being that that Plymouth Rock, right? The Pilgrims landed here in Boston, right? I mean, we got one here. Look at he's kind of got that Amish. Is the Amish? It looks like you're growing a little bit of stash now.
Well, see, I was resetting the line, and I actually messed up my mustache one day, so I had to reset the top.
That's
part.
very honest to you, man. It's very
So
honest.
yeah.
So you
yeah,
didn't,
it was a
you weren't doing
mistake.
the Abe Lincoln on purpose.
No.
Okay.
No, it kind of just happened.
I thought maybe there was some, I know you smoke a
No.
pipe, maybe it lit your beard on fire, your mustache on fire or something. That's why you didn't have one.
No. I mean, last night that would have been the closest I came to burning anything off.
Starting the fire up front with diesel, or not diesel, but oil gas mix. It went up pretty quick. But I was gonna say you did really well. You didn't get singed at all. That I noticed.
I know. I'm quick.
Yeah.
Like a cat. But actually, I was thinking about something you said on the last show when you're giving some information on coffee.
Yeah.
It got me kind of curious,
Sure.
and I sort of did some of my own research.
Sure.
And I think I just wanted to add like one thing to it is
Sure.
it was pretty much, I mean, from what I saw, peer reviewed, like a lot of different people agreed over and over that I think it was like something like 50% more likely to go to hell if you put sweetener in your coffee.
I don't know, man. I swear by the organic maple syrup.
Experts agreed on this, like very serious point. Those who sweeten their coffee are 50% more likely to go to hell.
It's possible they're going to live longer, according to the last study I cited, where they said that people who sweeten their coffee with natural sugars actually live longer than those who drink it black or don't drink it at all. And they didn't even take into account organic. So I imagine how much further that would go through the roof if you're drinking organic coffee, because coffee's heavily pesticided, as you guys all know. Right? Everyone knows. But anyways, all right. So you so you have bad tasting coffee. You do construction. You're one of the crazies who likes cryptos. We talked about that last night. And Ethereum's your crypto, right? When it's not Dogecoin or Mambla.com, whatever. There's so
you
many
mess
weird
around
ones.
with meme coins or trade them, but no, Ethereum's definitely
Okay.
the platform to be on. Yeah.
So, so you've got a small farm. You're slowly warming into this homesteading lifestyle.
There's a lot to learn.
Yeah. Danae, hey, welcome. Strength and honor to you.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
I really feel like it should. I don't know, like doing the thing Thor did.
Yes, man. Yes, I like this. Smash. Bring another. Yeah, yeah. Now just don't do it with my Trump vineyard glasses. All right. I mean, I like you if I roll out the Trump vineyard glasses. All right. They're clients of ours, and we're really appreciative of them. They gave me so much wine. It was amazing. Great. Great.
Break.
Oh, we'll go get some like California vineyard or something. You can smash it to pieces. Just don't, Uncle D. We don't smash Uncle D's stuff. All right.
Okay.
Although it's his son.
And no touching your knee.
No touching my knee. If you see me shoot him, it's because he got a little too friendly. All right. So, anyways, you've done some stuff. You've done some things overseas. You weren't in the military, but you did some contract work. Can you talk about that a little bit? Whatever you're willing to expand upon. You don't have to go into all that much.
Yeah, I mean, I worked with a mission organization that was based out of California, and they did.
So you did Christian mission work overseas.
Yeah, and they did development work there. It's just they had kind of a
high risk Christian missionary areas.
Yeah, and then the methods too. It was kind of, I flew into Mauritania, which is right below Morocco, and slept in an office one night, and then the next day took me out into a slum with 2 Gambian immigrants they knew, and I was by myself.
Yeah,
so
sounds like a great time.
Yeah,
I respect missionaries, particularly those who go overseas. My big beef with the church is that we've outsourced so much of our strength overseas, trying to make hellholes better, and America has crumbled under our watch because of that. And I really wish that the church would go to Detroit or New Orleans or Chicago or Massachusetts, or battle wits with Berkeley and go there and push into California, instead of saying, so often the church blackmails people with food and water, and that's how they get them to listen, right? Obviously they're trying to do something kind. It's cost effective. I get it. But I would love to see, brilliant apologists and missionaries affirm America and set our foundations again, right? Because our foundations have crumbled in this time. Steve Raleigh! What's up, brother? I hope all your friends are doing well.
Another
in Florida.
Yeah, no, I mean, I probably would have still been working with them, but honestly, the further I got into the organization and ended up doing training over there in California, it was totally woke. I mean, unfortunately, most of the mission organizations are really woke now. They hardly, quite honestly, it's rare to find ones that actually hardcore focus on the gospel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, get over there, and a lot of it ends up just being
fair.
Developed. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and that was always my fear with it. Seeing people go to Haiti and Haiti stays Haiti.
Yeah.
Right? We've been sending missionaries to Haiti forever, and guess what? Trump was right. It's an asshole. Right? It's one of the most miserable places you see. If you saw actual footage of the amount of sewage and trash that leaves Haiti that goes into the Atlantic there, you'd be like, I'm never gonna, the whole like straw thing.
Mm-hmm.
The straws that we have here, like, I'm saving the world because I've got a straw that sucks and won't stay in my drink, and it's paper and it dissolves because it'll save the turtles. It's like, if you saw what was happening in China, the Philippines, Haiti, and places like that, you'll learn that it's not American trash causing any of those problems. It's always these third world or developing world hellholes that actually are the ones destroying our natural resources.
Yeah, no, and it was, that was something I ran into over and over again, whether it was Egypt, whether it was Mauritania, the Philippines. It was, the trash was just, the slums are rough.
Yeah, the Philippines totally threw me for a loop. I was there off an island called Tawi-Tawi off of Indonesia. And when I went to Manila, driving through the countryside to get to Manila, you see poverty. You see people on stilt huts in sewage, peeing and pooping off the side of their porch, right? Yeah. And then fishing right next to it.
Yeah.
And then the kids
rice
playing.
Paddies.
And then like giant garbage dumps, and the kids are playing in it.
Yeah.
And you're just like, holy smokes. We like, poverty in America is nothing to poverty in the third world. Like our poorest person in the U.S. is still in the top 1% of the world.
Well, that and the slavery too. Like
Yeah.
the actual like open markets and stuff is something I got to see where it was just. I mean, it's kind
women.
of.
Yeah, I mean the sex trafficking there. The women are like, I mean, the Philippines are known for like two things, and one is like Pineapple or whatever that company that does all the canning there of all the fruits.
Dole.
Yeah, I don't know if it's Dole. I can't remember which one it is, but it's known for that, and it's known for their women. They harvest their women and sell them. I mean, it's pretty heartbreaking.
Yeah, that was the sex trafficking in the Philippines was something that was. I mean, it was dark because I think one of the most like eye-opening things for me was going to like this one downtown area that was outside of a Catholic church. And this, like inside this Catholic church, there was people just like crawling on their knees, like to worship, like literally like worship this black Jesus. It's like, it was just a black Jesus statue. Mm-hmm. And then outside, I mean, they were selling all kinds of like magical potions. Their women, you name it.
Girls
like
trying to sell their virginity, like 13, 14, 15-year-old girls trying to sell their virginity. It was disgusting.
Or the fathers like selling their, like, I mean, it was like all that. And then in Mauritania, it was this sort of quasi-Arab tribe that owned like the various like black immigrants that would come in.
Well, that's like everyone blames white people for slavery when they don't understand is that it was intertribal war over there. And basically tribes would kidnap other tribes and sell the men off, the women off, right? Mm-hmm. That's who the English and the French and the Germans and the U.S. That's who we were buying from black people who were selling their rivals.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that was essentially the slave trade. And there's a movie out now like Woman King or something that's totally distorted the entire history, made it colonizers and all this other crap. When it's like, no, your own tribe was selling your own people. And that's what happened. So
they weren't a very powerful fighting force. They got destroyed by the French in like 2 hours. I think it was.
Yeah.
So
it's
anyway, just correct.
There's a lot of a lot of wokeness, as we know, in Hollywood, and a lot of inaccurate history, which is why they pull down our statues and try to rewrite our history. Right? Yeah. They smash our heroes and they try to destroy the nobility of America. Because if you hate your country, who's going to want to enlist? Right. And it's all like, for me, it's all backed by China. Like it's so obvious. And I was talking today about this, I think on the radio, or actually maybe it was on the Hope Report with, I can't remember which one it was, but here's China, doing masculinity classes and outlawing anything that feminizes their men. And here is China funding the feminizing of men, BLM and all this other crap here in the U.S., right? Because they know if they can get rid of masculinity, they can conquer America without a shot.
Well, and then you have to like wonder with all this, CRT, like the various things that they're actually pushing here, and then you watch the NBA and like all these stars completely ignore like blatant
Uyghurs,
racism.
They're like the most racist people you'll ever meet are Chinese people. You can't even live there unless you're Mandarin.
And it's like,
I mean, like they don't let other races even move in there. Like they hate, and they're the most elitist group of people you'll find. And again, owned by the NBA. NBA is they want those markets, and
that's how they're not serious. Like, and that CRT and a lot of this is designed to bring the U.S. down because they don't implement that stuff in other places. Nope. It's essentially designed to bring the West to its knees.
It's designed for us to hate ourselves, to sow strife, and so that when it comes time for the Third World War and China is the aggressor or our opponent, we were destroyed from within, just like Rome. Yeah. Right. And, but I'm actually very hopeful right now. And I actually was talking to some brothers who were, I got some news to break. There was going to be Maryville had a drag thing a few months ago. And Patriot Church, Knoxville, Ken Peters and a bunch of people showed up and protested and shut it down. And then they were getting ready to do a drag haunted house for all ages of kids, right? Which is disgusting.
Yeah.
Like if you got to throw drag and kids in there, it's, you know, like, and you're watching these things and it's these freaks doing sexual dances in front of little kids, like shaking their man junk, pretending to be a woman in front of kids. Like, it's the most disgusting thing. It's not innocent in the slightest, right?
No.
You know, it really is the sexualization and perversion and the grooming of kids to go down this path. But Ken Peters made a stink about it, was getting ready to lead hundreds of people to protest it tomorrow, and brought it to Mary. Like, Tennessee has very aggressive anti-sexualizing kids laws here. We have one of the best. We're one of the best states in the union at that. But it didn't name drag specifically. So he went down there to the police chief of Maryville, which is a very conservative town. It's not like some flaming left. It's 80% red, right? Yeah. And brought it to the police chief and said, well, you enforce the spirit of this law and not the letter of this law, meaning they don't mention drag, but it's obviously sexual deviance to children. And he said that that is illegal in Maryville and they will enforce that.
And
so it's done. It's not happening. Right. So they got to make it 18 and over, which is all what Ken Peters and the Christians there said. If you choose to be a deviant and to worship the devil and be a part of that, there's nothing we can do about that. But don't you dare do it to kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's something that should be shut down. I mean, I'm glad that the local police supported it. And if they didn't support it, I would. Well,
that's what we'd be used to, right? That's what we'd be used to. But here in Tennessee, with conservative sheriffs and conservative mayors and conservative governors and conservative attorney generals, that's why we moved here. So we weren't battling the entire government to do the right thing when crazy people want to do crazy things. Yeah.
No, I mean, it definitely helps. That's for sure.
You know, so I was again talking to Ken, and this is for all of our pro-lifers out there, right? The Linda, welcome.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
Fill that up. It's getting low.
All right.
So all my pro-lifers out there, if you're unaware, the feds passed a law to try to counter the pro-life movement and the picketing and the protesting in front of abortion clinics. And, you know, they made it a federal crime that carries an 11-year sentence and $250,000 fine. And what they did, the feds passed a law. They passed a law saying that, you know, you can't.
Just recent.
Within the past, I think it's within the past year, right? Because they're enforcing it past a year ago. So I think it's right when Biden came in office. It's part of probably some stuff they jammed into in Congress in a bill to fund whatever that no one said anything about. But regardless,
is that what they used to go after that one family?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, here's the news break on that. They just arrested 11 pro-lifers in Nashville.
Oh, wow.
They indicted a bunch of pro-lifers in Nashville for something that happened earlier in the year. So what they did is what YouTube does. They say, hey, these are our policies. They passed the law, and your ignorance of that law doesn't matter. They let you hang yourself, and then they send the feds, and now you're facing 11 years and $250,000 in fines. 11 years for a non-violent, nothing crime.
That's crazy. And then, like,
and then they show up with 20 armed agents, kick in your door and drag you out in cuffs and chains in front of your kids like you're like some bad guy. But they don't have a single arrest or a single charge for the 70 attacks against pro-life centers.
And I'm just curious, like, where are they actually gonna jail them? Because I know with the J6 stuff, they're taking a lot of them to DC, right?
Well, that's where the crime was committed. So I assume it's got to be in the jurisdiction of where the crime was committed. So wherever they protested, wherever the federal facilities are, the federal courthouse, the federal jail, that's probably where they'll go, I imagine.
Yeah, I just wonder if they'll actually let them into the normal system, though, because I don't
think so. If they let them into the normal system, they have a better chance.
Yeah,
it's a federal crime, so I think they're going to have to do federal facilities, unfortunately. But I don't know. I'm not certain on that. My interaction with federal law has been very minimal.
I mean, it's been really dangerous for those guys who, protested.
The political prisoners in
yeah.
on January 6th. Yeah. It's
I mean,
absolutely terrible. And all of us are cowards because we haven't done anything about it. And they just sitting in prison for what, 2 years now?
Yeah. Now these guys are going to be sitting in prison for doing something that's constitutionally protected.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, this stuff is.
It's heartbreaking, which is why these elections are so important, which is why I was counseling these pro-lifers. And before that event got canceled, and I said, listen, be principled, stand in it, but don't cost us the election over something stupid right now. Right? If you use inflammatory language, if you say something in the passion moment, and now that is the campaign rallying cry, that costs us a key Senate seat, right? Or whatever. Don't let it be like wherever. Some tragedy happens, right? Some tragedy, and they'll never let a tragedy go to waste. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, possibly, or they'll even invent a tragedy.
Of course.
Now.
Of course, right? They're desperate.
Yeah.
They're really desperate. I mean, look at the lengths they went to sabotage Trump, because they knew if he wins the office a second time, people are going to jail. Like, they did a really good job tying him up with a bunch of deep state generals in his cabinet. Yeah. Right? They were 100% compromised. All of us thought, oh, he's got generals in there. They're not going to. No, there's nobody more corrupt than the Pentagon. The Pentagon and the military-industrial complex is the worst of us in this nation.
I mean, personally, I've just been, and we talked about this before,
Mm-hmm.
I've been dumbfounded that there hasn't actually been any true terrorism on the right.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that they're having
Zero.
to manufacture and that we don't have any, like, actual cases, I'm just like, okay.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I mean, that's part of my,
Like-
part of my prayers in the morning, right? It's like, when you think about it, you think that at least 22 veterans a day are hopeless enough to kill themselves.
Yeah.
Right? Meaning that they literally blow their brains out 22 a day. That not one of them has decided to target the VA or Congress or the IRS or any of these other groups in their despair, in their final mission. That they haven't done that is proof that God is involved, that he is stopping them from doing that, because I don't know how it hasn't happened. Every day I turn on the news expecting to hear something. One of our brothers, or one of my brothers in the military, or one of our nation's heroes has finally been pushed over the edge to do something terrible. And I just pray that it doesn't happen. And I pray that we turn back before then. But it's a miracle to me that it doesn't happen.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, like, because of how desperate they're getting, I mean, I've personally been wondering whether they can even let the elections happen. Like, or whether
I wouldn't be surprised if there's a COVID strain mixed with Ebola at the last minute, right?
Or some
that
kind of
is shut down, or Russia. Russia's getting ready.
True.
Right? Like right now they're talking about Russia and the fact that we just spent 290 or 390 million dollars on radioactive meds to counter, the iodine and all that stuff that we'll need to counter if Russia launches.
What this like strong as the language has been over the last like couple months trying to make the right out to be terrorists, like I've been really fearful of a false flag event,
big
like
the
false
sixth. The
flag
sixth was a
event.
false flag operation.
Yeah.
Right? You get a bunch of people there, you embed some bad actors from the FBI
Yeah.
or three-letter agencies, you stoke things, then you have the police department wave them in, right? Open the gates and say, come on in, guys. And then what? Like the fact that there was an insurrection without a single weapon recovered, without shots fired on the insurrectionist side, right? The only people who died were Trump supporters.
Yep.
Including the cop who died was a Trump supporter. And he died of a stroke later. They tried to make it act like he was beat with a fire extinguisher.
And wasn't there like 2 suicides too?
There's been multiple suicides since then, right?
I mean, it was like 5 cops that died kind of like quickly after, and it was like I think a couple suicides. I mean, honestly, I actually, because of how quickly so many of those died, like I would still like to know what happened there.
Well, we're gonna have to,
not on the side that they're trying to make it sound like.
No.
It sounds
I think if we take
Somebody
back the
crazy.
Congress and there's going to be a big call if we take back the House and Senate let's just let things lie and move forward and go whatever because of all the going back and playing into their hands for that.
Yeah.
But I think we need to figure out what happened there, and we need to hold people accountable. Like the fact that Hunter Biden is not in prison right now, right? But they raid Trump's house is absolutely. I mean, he's on tape with God knows the ages of those girls that he's on tape with, right? Doing horrible things, doing drugs, lying about his to get a gun, like federal application to get a gun. The Secret Service recovered the gun that he did have there's a bunch of whole massive, then the fraud that he committed against Tony Bobulinski and all the things that he brought and the big man getting his cut. Like, it just shows you that how evil our press is and how completely corrupt and how owned they must be by China.
I wonder what caused Bobulinski to come out again and actually he came out with part of the story before.
I think
but
more
then
things
to come
have
out
happened.
and say he's the chairman now, he left that out before.
Well, I think he came out and I think he thought it was going to go somewhere and he was going to let the FBI do the job and he didn't have to hit it with the biggest hammer ever, right? Meaning that, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to put it out there.
Gotcha.
They're gonna matriculate this through. They're going to take this to the end, and there'll be something. But then the FBI,
they're going to do their jobs,
right? They're going to do their jobs, right?
Yeah.
Instead, the guy took all the stuff and then buried it, and then was forced retired, and walked out. It went nowhere, and I think Bobulinski's like, "Oh hell no!" And then came forward and did it again. And of course, it got zero coverage on any other channel, which. When we take back the House and the Senate, I think there has to be an investigation in all the news media stations to say, where is the free press on this? Because it's not free. They're being coordinated. They have talking points. They're owned I think they're owned by China, and I think China's driving the narrative.
We need some new leaders too, and
of course,
we talked on. Yeah, and what's his name, McCarthy?
McCarthy, I don't trust. I don't trust
any,
McConnell, I don't trust. But I'm not sure who I trust anymore. And we talked about this. We talked about Dan Crenshaw. You're not a fan. I'm suspect. I'm not willing to indict him yet on some things, but I am suspect on some things. He's made some questionable votes. And, I think Tucker Carlson has called it right and in calling out his hypocrisy and his rhino status. He is a rhino. And, which breaks my heart because there is, again, I want to see an enlisted guy get in power once. I'm tired of these academy, deep state, these academy, relative military, industrial, woke guys who, whether they were conservative or not, they're all part of that ring knocker academy, Naval Academy, West Point Academy, Air Force Academy. And so they're in that clique and they're controlled by that clique. I want a guy who is an enlisted guy who is a truth speaker, man, who didn't play politics to get his rank, right? As you climb ranks, there is no general on earth who isn't compromised in order to get that job. It takes politics to make general. Yeah. Right. And, I don't know where the magic thing is where you peter out, where all of a sudden you sold your soul, or if you don't sold your soul, you don't go any further than this and you get buried in like some support base in Puerto Rico or something,
I think Mad Dog Mattis was probably one of the biggest disappointments.
Oh, totally.
That was just
totally. That guy was all hype. The guy was all hype. And he had a cool name. And, but if you look at our generals, right, we haven't won a war since World War II, really. You can look at the Gulf War, which was World War II technology against the rest of the world, right? But we haven't won. We haven't won anything. Yeah, I won't comment on it. We haven't won a real war, since World War II. And it takes a special kind of suck to have the best technology, to have the best soldiers in the world, have the best logistics and the best everything, and still manage to snatch defeat from victory. You know what I'm saying?
Unless it's genuinely intentional, where it
has to be intentional.
You don't have a design to end any war. It's just perpetual war in all spheres.
Well, that's why they love these low intensity conflicts, right?
Yeah.
Let's keep a war 3 continents away where no one sees it, where we can drop drones on whoever we want, right? And then we'll still be able to get our stocks. We'll still be able to do our insider trading with the defense companies.
Or
we'll
launder money through the Ukraine.
Yeah, we'll launder money through the Ukraine or all these other things, right?
44 billion more out the door.
Right. There's a reason why Ukraine keeps getting all these aid packages, because all those aid packages are going to our freaking politicians.
Yeah. Or the World Economic Forum.
Or God knows what.
It's like
right?
paying for a bigger and better Davos.
Yeah. But then, Steve
Davos
said they all have
again.
to go except Rand Paul. I would love Rand Paul to be president. I don't think he has the ability to win that. I don't think he comes from a big enough state. And I don't think he has the charisma to do it. But I think Rand Paul and his father before him have proven that they hate power and that they are true believers in decentralization of power. They understand the banking system. They understand how corrupt it all is. And I think if anyone was going to dismantle the 3-letter agencies, it would be Rand Paul. And I think he would be the first one to put Tony Fauci in shackles.
That would be nice.
But again, he's a weird dude from Kentucky. And he's an eloquent dude. I like him, but there's a reason why he kept going to the end of the stage. He's not the most masculine dude. He's not. I find him brilliant. I put out a formal apology on him because I used to think he was a quack back when he was against the Patriot Act, and I was in the SEAL teams, and all I saw was 2 towers go up, and I wanted to go after bad guys. I'm like, what are you talking about? Because I still believed in my own country. I didn't think they would weaponize it against us. But of course, he was right, and they did. And they are.
Yeah. No, that's he's got weak ribs. Weak ribs, Rand Paul. No, I'm sorry. That was a cheap shot.
Yeah.
I hope he's healed.
He's good to do it. He's doing fine.
That neighbor must have licked him hard, though. I'm sorry.
Yeah, man. He was on his lawnmower and he housed him. So, and who knows the size of that guy or whatever happened there. But, there hasn't been a Republican who's tried to assassinate an entire branch of government. But we sure had a Bernie Sanders guy try to do that at a baseball game.
Yeah. Well, no, that's what I'm saying is the fact that the right, it's like we don't burn cities. We pretty much don't do anything.
We're conservative.
And and they're like, you're terrorists. You've got a 3%ers tag on.
Yeah.
It's like,
I didn't even know what 3%ers was
Yeah.
until the FBI ended up calling me one time. And I don't, you guys may know this or may not. I knew a guy that I went.
So this is the end of the show. I'm done.
Yeah.
Now no, I'm kidding.
So I was one day sitting at my house, and I remember, occasionally I'm sitting around. I'm like, man, whatever happened to that guy in the military that I really enjoyed? So there was a guy who I was in Chicago with, going through medical school, or medic school. And there was a guy there, and I won't say his name, but I'm like, man, he was so funny. I want to look him up and see what he's doing. So I find out he's an ER doc in Pennsylvania. So I reach out to him. I track him down. I reach out to him like, hey, how you doing? Talking to him, totally normal conversation. I'm like, oh, it's awesome. You're a doctor now, doing all this stuff. And then some months go by and he calls me. He made some weird stuff going on about the marijuana industry and, all this stuff. And he starts texting me weird stuff and all that. And then nothing. And then a couple more months go by and he sends me some really weird stuff. And he's coming through my town and he wants to hook up. And I'm like, man, he's saying some weird stuff. And I had all the texts and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do an intervention on this guy. I don't know if he's coming down here to try to whack me because I was a SEAL. I don't know if he's emotionally disturbed, but he's saying some things. He didn't make any overt threats, but he's like, yeah, I get all my guns. I'm going out south. They're after me, saying some weird things, right? So I'm in Charlottesville and I'm like, holy smokes. So I call a friend of mine who's a cop, who's on the SWAT team in Charlottesville. And I call one of my friends who's a CCW guy who trained with me all the time. I'm like, I'm going to meet this guy for breakfast, right? I'm going to meet him for breakfast, and I want you guys to be in the next table. If anything goes wrong, you guys are there. We can do an intervention on him and get him some help, right? So we're there. He doesn't show. So we're like, okay, we have our breakfast, whatever. And then I get a call from the FBI. He checked in. So I asked him, like, he's like, where should I stay in town? No, I'm in Charlottesville. He's coming, he's driving through DC to get here. I'm like, well, Trump Vineyard has, he's a doctor. So I'm like, Trump Vineyard has Airbnb, right? So he goes and checks into Trump Tower in DC. And when he goes to check in, he's like, hey, I've got some firearms and ammo in my car. Should I leave it in my car or should I bring it into the room? Well, they call the Capitol Police on him, the Secret Service on him, because he trekked in the Trump Hotel saying he had a gun in his car and all this stuff. And the FBI did a big sting on him, and here he is trying to call me. So they call me, and they're like, what's going on? I'm like, hey, listen, I dug in my eyes. I was getting ready to do an intervention on this guy. I just want him to get help. He didn't say anything threatening. He didn't say he was going to do it, but he just felt off. He felt off. I mean, I know what an EDP is, an emotionally disturbed person, and I was concerned for him. So I had a local law enforcement officer and another witness that were in a diner sitting at a table next to me ready to do an intervention on this guy because I wasn't sure if he was trying to do suicide by seal or whatever, right? So I get summoned to a grand jury. Well, they first, on the FBI on the phone starts doing like good cop, bad cop, right? And they're like, hey, we want you to do whatever. I'm like, whoa, I'm not doing it. I just want this guy to get help. I'm not testifying anything. I just want this guy to get help if you want to get. I don't think he's a threat to anyone. Obviously, he told the people at Trump Hotel, like, active shooter is my world, right? They don't come to the front desk and say, hey, I've got weapons in my car. I'm trying to do the right thing. And where do I go to shoot everyone up, right? That's not what they do. So anyways, right? So the guy starts like trying to get really like bossy on me and all this. And then the other guy was like, oh, just chill. You know, we want to help the guy. We're not trying to throw the book at him, whatever. So I get summoned to a grand jury, right? And they're like, do you want a lawyer for the grand jury? I'm like, hell yeah, I want a lawyer. The FBI's involved, right? If I'm going to get one, I'm entitled to one. It's at no cost to me. Of course I want a lawyer. So I get a lawyer and I talk to a lawyer. And this is where I'm going to give the FBI guy credit, right? Yeah, so the lawyer can't come in with me to the grand jury, right? And so, you know, I go there and they're talking to me, and there's a black female in the audience or in the grand jury panel. And she says, I got a question for you. Mr. Perry, why did you feel like you needed a lawyer? I'm like, because I'm Italian. He's like, stop. He's like, ma'am, Mr. Perry is welcome to have a lawyer. That's completely irrelevant. It doesn't weigh in anything. Don't answer that question. This is the FBI agent saying that for me. And he squashed it. He's like, that's the most ridiculous thing you could ever ask him.
How much you want to bet that guy is no longer with the
FBI?
Probably, because he was
out.
Like a good agent, and it's
exactly.
like we can't have any of that anymore.
Right. So anyways, you know, I never heard anything about it. I don't know what happened to him. I don't know if you know anything. I cut all ties with him because it was obviously extremely complicating for my life. And all this to roll in, and now
you don't like calls from the FBI.
Yeah, I don't like it. But then for the next few months, my phone was tapped. Like I was making the most horrible sounds. Like they're pretty obvious when they're tapping your phones, particularly if you have slow internet, right? If you got slow and you're running like CenturyLink and it was the biggest clown show of them tapping my phone. Like it would start all weird and then 15 seconds in, the sound would go away.
Did you ever like play with them at all?
No,
like,
I just wanted them out of my life. Well, I would say, hey, what's up, feds? You know, whatever. But I'm a guy. I'm a good guy. I'm an active shooter consultant trying to help them, trying to help people save lives, not whatever they thought was going on, and
I know you could have just like tried to do a counseling session of some kind where you like just brought your problems and emotional issues just to see if you could like solicit one of them to eventually go, well, I actually think you should try this. Yeah. Have a little friendly conversation,
I mean, it was just, but it's a pretty terrifying thing when, now here I am out of my day. I got to drive to DC. I got to go in there. And now I'm playing like by all these federal rules. I'm in a federal grand jury, right? Yeah. That's no joke.
No.
Right? A lot of people there get their lives destroyed. And I'm just trying to help a vet, man. Literally just trying to help a vet. And, and now I've got some some black lady who wants to run an inquisition on me because I'm a white guy who's a former Navy SEAL talking. So I must be up to something bad, right? I'm a Republican.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm just like, why did you feel like you needed a lawyer? Like, because I'm in the freaking DC in a federal freaking thing here. I don't know what I'm doing.
And I also happen to be a U.S. citizen.
Yeah. Yeah, well, again.
It's-
So, you know, it was just pretty darn trippy to see that. And, you know, that's what happens to these people. The FBI show up at their door, right? And I tell everyone, I'm like, don't talk to them. If they come through your house and they search your house, fine. Don't talk to them, because if you misremember something, they're going to charge you with a felony. And that's the process crime they use. Now, they can lie to you all day.
The best response video to the Fed showing up that I've seen so far was a lady saying that she would go ahead and comply, leaves from, like, kind of goes away from the door, tells them to wait, calls her local cops, and tells them that there's somebody impersonating federal officers trying to take their guns. And so the local officers actually show up with their weapons drawn and arrest the federal officers.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's like, that was, I'm like, okay, see, if this ever
That's
happens,
checkmate.
like
That's
I'm
checkmate.
definitely,
That's like 5th degree black belt. Like,
yeah,
torture right
yeah.
there.
It's like, you know what? Yes, I'm going to use that.
I'd be worried
We're
that
gonna
I
do
would cause, you know, some cops to get killed, or some decent FBI guys, you know, in a okay corral situation to go down. But
Well, and with your voice, it'd be kind of hard to be like, I'm afraid for my life.
yeah.
I'm afraid for my
Yeah, well,
I've
you
got
know-
a special set of skills.
But, you know, I mean, I'm telling these people, I'm like, you know, you don't cooperate with them. Don't talk to them, because if someone asks you, where were you on December 2nd of 2018? You'd be like, what? I don't even know where I was last week. Never mind that, right? And you say, well, and they offer up, well, do you think you were probably in DC having lunch with so-and-so? That sounds right? Because you know, in and around there, you were doing something like that. Now, even though they planted that, you're screwed,
Yeah.
because you weren't there on that day. You were there on this day instead, right? And now they can charge you with it. It's
Yeah, for lying
like
to
that's what they did to General Flynn,
Yeah. Just best.
who's a brilliant dude.
Just best to act like a dementia patient.
Well, no, it's the best. I don't understand my rights. I want my lawyer. I don't understand my rights. I want my lawyer. I don't understand my rights. Because believe me, you don't, when it comes to that whole spiel.
Yeah.
Unless you're an expert in the federal law enforcement trial system, you don't know what's going on. So I don't understand my rights. I need a lawyer, like yesterday. And they'll be like, well, we're going to tear apart your life. We're going to inconvenience you. We're going to break all your stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what they do.
Yeah. No, it's one of those crazy things about the whole.
The system is the punishment.
It is. It is, because they can wrap you up in court and basically drain
Bankrupt you.
Yeah.
Bankrupt you.
No, it's.
You know, and then, of course,
And like you said, that's what they did to Flynn. He lost.
he lost everything, man.
Yeah.
You know, and then they threatened his kid, you know, with jail time and all kinds of other stuff, man. So, you know, it's a pretty wicked, evil situation we're all in. And, you know, do I think they're good FBI agents? Absolutely. Do I think they're good people in the CIA? Absolutely. But I'm not stupid enough to say it's most of them anymore.
I'm pretty sure that, like, if it starts getting below the 1% mark, you just call it a bad organization.
Well, I think they all need to be reformed.
Yeah.
Right? I think they all need to be reformed. I would disband the FBI and I would start over, right? Whatever it's got to be, and I would adjust this whole process crime thing needs to go away.
I know some of my like major worries started happening around the Tea Party movement when that started going.
I remember being a cop and being around that, and they were the
Yeah.
best protesters ever. They'd leave the place
Yep.
cleaner than it was. They were polite. They would thank me for my service. It was amazing, and they get so demonized by the press.
They used the IRS and the FBI both to destroy or keep people from being able to like organize or get their 501.
501c3.
Yeah.
Which is, what do you think 87,000 agents are going to do?
I mean, some of their homes were actually torn
Sure.
torn apart the same way they're doing now. So a lot of that started like good while back with the Tea Party. It's just I'm surprised how much that one got ignored at that point in time. But
yeah, and the Tea Party was the most tame
yeah,
group ever. Right now you've got, you know, what do they call them? It's not MAGA anymore. It's not mega, ultra MAGA.
Ultra
Now you
MAGA.
got the ultra MAGA, and of course, like Bryson Gray and all these rappers make a hit song right after that called Ultra MAGA, right? But you know, there you got people more pissed off and more frustrated because everything else didn't work before. It just keeps escalating, and they're going to be called these horrible names anyways.
Yeah.
I mean, if you know, right now, if you're a follower of Jesus Christ and you love America, you're a Christian nationalist.
Yeah.
Which is being called like the biggest threat to the world right now, even though they don't have any crime or any terrorism or anything started by any of them.
Yep. Which is kind of, I mean, it's one of those things that's really the dangerous part of that language, and some of them have literally been using the word terrorist, is we've been bombing terrorists. We've been killing terrorists. Like what
we
you
kill
do with
guys who
terrorists-
deliver water.
Yeah.
Right after the 13 Marines, we did a successful drone strike on somebody. We killed a guy with his kids delivering water to families.
Yeah.
Right? Like whoever, they should be in jail.
But I mean, like, the point of that is like you're calling these people terrorists who are just like literally law-abiding citizens.
They're
It's
grandmas with cancer who are sitting in solitary confinement in DC prisons.
like, the restraint that's necessary with some of this. Well,
here's the thing: you don't fight in your enemy's background. You don't give them the tactical advantage of the court system, the legal system, the law enforcement agencies, and everything else.
Yeah.
Right? We, going there and doing anything, and I'm sure it was really easy to get swept up in and not even know you were committing a crime. Right? I believe that there are people who went through the Capitol who saw the police waving them in, laughing, having a good time, and they were in a line of 100 people and probably went in and didn't realize they were doing whatever they got charged with in the end, right?
Well, it's actually entrapment, to be quite honest. If you're getting like, a lot of them didn't actually commit any of those crimes.
They walked around, but they were trespassing in a building that they own.
Were they?
As a taxpayer.
Okay, gotcha.
In a building that they own,
gotcha.
And with their rights to do whatever.
Yep.
I mean, it's really. But if you go and you talk to a reporter from ABC, NBC, CBS, MSNBC, I mean, just keep naming them: the Boston Globe, the New York Times, the Boston Herald, the Chicago Tribune, LA Times. If you talk to a vast majority of the population, they think that was worse than 9/11, which is ridiculous when you think about thousands of lives gone and the infinite cost of 9/11 going forward. They try to sensationalize this with a type of vitriol and it's deliberate to dehumanize people who don't agree with them.
I mean, I guess you do have to calculate the emotional trauma of entering Pelosi's office. I mean, that was a pretty tragic thing for them to do. And definitely deserving of torture and jail. Over a year.
The guy who put his feet up on her desk and they totally destroyed his life and all that stuff, right? It's a really, really, really dark time. And I think that, we have one chance right now, which is the November elections, to take things back. And protesters and people on the right and everyone needs to hold it together to November 8th so they don't cost us an election in the balance of the House or the balance of the Senate going forward so that we can actually start righting the country, right? There is a way back to us if we win the midterms. There is a way back from this cliff on the edge of the abyss. If we don't win during this and they maintain power, then America, as we know it, is done. It'll have to be states peeling off, the 3-state solution, whatever you want to say, That's the only way that any part of America stays intact.
And then we start waging war on all of the other states.
Well, you
Yeah,
can't do that.
I'm
Yeah,
kidding.
obviously,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
He's
Is
100%
there-
kidding. Yeah. So,
I mean,
no,
you
but-
get that like three coast thing, and then you've got literally the three kingdoms, right? And it's like a Tolkien novel at that point, where we're all just,
well, I understand
you
that,
know,
but it has to be three kingdoms that share a common military, right? Is how it would have to be, because you can't have security otherwise with it, because you could literally neutralize the other place by detonating weapons on your own soil that with zero launch time. Like, there's your enemy, boom, right? You know, it's gone.
who is Middle Earth? And
Yeah, I know what you're saying. You know, but you know, I'm not smart enough to understand how a 3-state solution or a 2-state solution or how all those things know. I just know that if you look at values, there's the East Coast values, there's the West Coast values, and then there's the South Coast values. Those are the people who vote alike, think alike. They share a belief system, whereas no New Yorker or very few New Yorkers or Californians are ever going to agree with somebody from Tennessee or Texas.
it's highly unlikely, even though a lot of those guys seem to be coming here.
Well, a lot of them are coming here, and the
Californians.
woke ones are coming. Not the woke ones, but the conservative ones who are fleeing here. And I believe that there is still a lot of common sense in this country. You know, unfortunately, California gets defined by west of I-5, which is where all the cities are. But they're country boys west of I-5. It's mountains and hunters and rednecks everywhere, right? New York, north of New York City, is country boy the whole way. They just get defined by New York City.
I kind of feel like there might need to be an assimilation process, though, where, you know, similar to the whole like citizenship process.
Well, to
These
come to the
places, like-
South and
Yeah.
yeah.
Somebody
Yeah,
from
obviously.
California should there should be some kind of process to prove that you're not a
You
communist.
can't vote here for 3 years when you come down, because your policies might be you might be an insurgent trying to destroy the freedoms we have here.
Actually, that's not a bad idea.
That's what I do. I come up with stuff. Yeah. So,
Genius.
yeah. But no, it's very complex. I'm very hopeful for our future if we take back the House and Senate. I think Biden will try to rule by fiat and executive order by then, because that's the only thing he'll have. I mean, look, he had a terrible week. So what do you do? Pardon everyone who ever smokes weed. Right? Like, it's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. It's such pandering. You know, it's like, hey, what are we going to do? Oh, man, let's empty our strategic petroleum reserve to try to keep gas prices down to the 8th. And then we'll shoot them up $2 a barrel the day after, because people are stupid enough to think that that's what Biden really wants. Low gas prices, when all he wants is high gas prices.
Yeah, I actually was very surprised when they were not able to keep the gas prices down for a little longer. I thought they were going to be able to pull that little.
Well, I think OPEC and all these other places want a powerful America to come back on stage, because they're afraid of the whole world going up in flames. So I think they actually want Biden out. I think they're looking at this. They're like, America doesn't know what a man is anymore. The difference between a man and a boy or a girl. They don't understand this. These people are freaking crazy. And I'd rather have predictable power than crazy in charge.
Yeah.
And I honestly, I think that part of them is like, we need a strong, steady America again. A weak America just leads to a strong Iran, a strong North Korea, a strong Putin, strong whatever.
Yeah, I mean, what we've been seeing over the last year is pretty much nihilism.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's actually how long does this
This goes until we run out of things to talk about. So
yeah, I wasn't entirely sure. I ended up sort of doing a show of my own with a friend of mine for a little bit, and we pretty much did like a morning show that ran like an hour or something like that. So I think my internal clock kind of like went off. Like it just like hit that hour mark, and I'm like, oh, it's an hour. Are
Yeah,
we?
No.
Are we?
Well, we don't have any sponsors to please or anything other than that, so we can go on as long as we want, as long as there's interesting topics there.
There's a lot of My Pillow products around.
Yes.
It's like it's not an official sponsor, but
Well, no, I mean, Mike does employ me, and he does sponsor the Hope Report. And I'll tell you, my coffee is good. It's organic, and I'm a big fan of the light roast. So there's a plug. And if you use the promo code HOPE on My Pillow or My Store, you get all the discounts that everyone gets for all their promo codes. So that's I don't get a cut of that. It just lets my boss know that people are watching the show that he sponsors.
Huh.
Which is not this one.
Form a union and negotiate some better.
No, it's all good. No, I mean,
better monetary.
He pays me very well to do what I do, and I'm very happy doing what I do for him. So he's a great boss. The fact that he has sponsored the Hope Report and funded, my household and this ministry and everything that Melissa and I do without the stress of, hey, you need to have 50,000 viewers or 100,000 viewers, right? He doesn't care. He's like, go out there and speak truth, take testimonies, and serve the Lord.
Well,
no
awesome.
Pressure. Now we just picked up our 4th TV station today, so we're on 4 Christian TV stations on cable. So, which is, we're going to reach far more there than we're ever going to reach on
with
YouTube.
the Hope Report.
Yeah, so
that's awesome.
So we're on Overcomers TV, His Glory TV. I'm terrible, but there's like 4 Christian TV stations. We just signed with another one yesterday or the day before. So that goes out on Roku, Apple TV, all that stuff, and we're on there.
When you post these, does it have like an actual link to the Hope Report at all? Like cross-pollinating some?
Not from PCM to that. Everyone who watches this show typically knows that and goes on. I'll see them during that broadcast because I use this software and I'll see people sounding off there. I had a great interview with D Cure today, who's a white Christian rapper who was a veteran who was suicidal, tried to kill himself, and now is crushing life and doing some amazing things for the kingdom. Had Topher on previous Friday, who's another a black rapper from Mississippi who's got #1 charting hits all over the place. He did the Patriot. He's done Olympus Has Fallen. He's done a lot of great things, and he came on, and it was so refreshing, so good. We had Kevin Sorbo the week before, so we're getting quality guests on there now, and because we have the TV lead, so it's not go to our channel and see how many subs we have and decide if you're going to come on. Now I think we're getting Doug Wilson on pretty soon as well.
So earlier you mentioned that you asked Kevin Sorbo who would win, Xena or Hercules?
I'm not going to repeat his answer to that. We're not going to repeat his answer to that. You have to go back and watch that episode to see how he answered that. But,
the hook.
The hook.
You got So what do you guys think? Actually, audience, yes. What do you think? Hercules or Xena?
I'm going to say that I think Hercules would win because, again,
I swear, like the sexism here is just absolutely amazing. Like she was an Amazon. I'm kidding.
Well, I know that Kevin Sorbo is actually a Christian conservative, and he fights for that. So I'm going to vote for him, regardless of who. It's not theology. It's mythologically who would have won Xena Warrior Princess versus Hercules.
Hold on, you think it's not real? It's like, whoa.
Oh, that's funny.
He's like, come on, sir. I mean, you do realize I still believe in Santa Claus.
All right, everyone. I think that's enough torture for tonight. Thank you so much for watching Patriot Crusader Mission. I will see you on Sunday, 7 p.m. for church right here, except that table will be turned that way. And so God bless, and we'll see you on Sunday.
God bless. Cheers.
Strength and honor.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
And outro.